There we go.
Jim, here we go.
How are you doing, Raf?
Very good. It's sunny in Barcelona, so it's good times here.
Yeah, all
How
fine
about
there.
you?
I'm fine.
Sorry?
I'm fine. You're back from Portugal?
Yeah, just got back from Portugal about 2 weeks ago. Went outside season. Had a really nice time. Beautiful place. I always thought Spain is beautiful, but when you go to the Algarve in Portugal, it's another level.
Yeah,
Have you been there?
yeah. I've been there when I was young. Yeah, we've been there several times in
Mm,
Algarve. Yeah, very nice. Yeah, very good
nice. Yeah,
memories there.
yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. Highly
yeah,
recommended.
yeah. So for the people watching today, we have Raf Adams as our guest, and Raf is the inventor of the suited monk uh, company concept. So, can you explain to the people watching what
Absolutely.
is the suited monk?
Definitely. And it's very important because everyone watching has a suit and also everyone watching has a monk. So what you see a lot in companies, Jim, today is, and thanks for having me on the coffee break.
Yeah.
You see a lot of people in companies today, managers, leaders, they're very successful. So they focus on productivity, they focus on performance. It's the money that you make, it's the house that you have and the car that you drive in. And it's also your image. It's how people see you externally. That's all your suit, your external self. And that applies to men and women. Then on the other hand, you have your internal self. And that is what I call your monk. And when I say monk here, I'm not referencing to Buddhism or any religion. It's more like a metaphor of the internal self. And
Mhm.
so your monk, your internal self links to your values. Very important, it links to your purpose in life or your purpose as a leader. It links to your intuition. It's what makes you happy. It's what brings you joy. And the problem is that a lot of people only focus on the suit in their life, and thereby they disconnect from their monk. And so when you do that in your life or in your business, you have a gap between what you try to achieve and who you are on the inside. So for the past 15 years, I've been working in China, I've been working in Hong Kong, now working in Spain and traveling internationally to help individuals and also organizations to bridge the gap between their suit and their monk so they can be happy internally and then also successful externally.
Yeah, yeah, it's amazing. And
Definitely.
where is this like this concept? It has like kind of a root. Where is it coming from? Like, did you experience things yourself? Like,
Absolutely. It basically the origin is from my own personal story because I used to work for a multinational organization. I came to China when I was 27. I was working there as a manager in a company, and my focus in my career was mainly my suit. It's like, how can I become successful in order to buy a nice house, to have a good relationship, and to live a good life? But the problem that I had was that I was trying to live according to the expectations of other people. So I had a lot of stress. I was working not aligned with my purpose and who I was, and I was also not aware of it. So I was on the way to a burnout. And then in 2008, when I was working in China, we had a global financial crisis. And so then I lost my job. And then suddenly my whole suit was gone. My success was gone. My job title was gone. The corporate package was gone, the travels and everything. And then I realized that I actually have no idea who I am on the inside. I don't know where I'm going in life. And I realized that my suit was just a projection towards, let's say, like trying to be someone in the world. And then the next step was like, okay, what am I going to do next? And that's actually when my monk came into play. That's when the soul searching began. That's when my mindset started to shift, that I was learning to listen to my internal self. And so what I did in the years that followed was to try to find my purpose in life. And I always knew that I wanted to help people, but I was not sure in what way. So when I was in Hong Kong, I started a training education, started to work for a coaching and training company. My salary decreased from my big suit package towards a more humble package. But for me, it was an investment to find my path in life. And then I became happier. I lived a life, started to live a life according to my values. And then I realized at a certain point, I was like, I still like business. So how can you, as an individual or as someone in a company, live a life according to your purpose, live a life according to your values, heal emotionally, but then at the same time have a good suit, external self to increase your productivity? And I couldn't find really a methodology or a tool in the market that helped people to bridge that gap in an easy way. Because if you look at a lot of organizations today, it's about productivity, it's about performance, and happiness is a nice have, but it's not so important. But if people are not engaged, you have a higher turnover in the organization. So it's really critical that you bridge that gap between your monk, your internal self, and you suit your external self. And I came from my own journey, learned a lot of things, made a lot of mistakes. So when I put it in my books, the Suited Monk and Suited Monk Leadership, to do that in a very practical way, not just personal development or woo-woo. No, just like, okay, how do you do it when you work for a company? And yeah, I help leaders in transition as well to find their path and their purpose in life.
Yeah. What is needed for fulfillment?
It's a big question. That most people that search for fulfillment need support in that. So it requires a change of mindset in the first case. Second is to be introspective and to learn to listen to your emotions. Because what happens today, Jim, is that, let's say, if you have a physical injury, where do you go? You go to the doctor, right? But if you have an emotional injury, where do you go? Most people would try to swallow the emotion, or like, it never happened, or try to cover it up. But it's like learning to listen, like, what is your body telling you? What are your emotions telling you? What are your values telling you? And to listen and to accept that. So fulfillment links to living a life true to yourself. And that means knowing what your values are, identifying where are you making decisions today in your career or your private life not aligned with your values, because there you create that gap between that suit and that monk. So bridge that gap in that sense, understanding what is your purpose in your life, and is that purpose in your life expressed as a leader in your organization. And the third thing is the quality of your decision making. Fulfillment comes from making decisions alignment according to your intuition, which is basically your inner compass. For example, Harvard did a study on CEOs globally, and they said that 86% of the CEOs that they studied is that at some point you can only gather a certain amount of data, but then you have to make a decision based on your intuition in the organization. So fulfillment is also a part of listening to that internal self, that intuition, that inner monk.
Yeah. And is that suit not a part of the fulfillment?
Suit is part of, let's say, external fulfillment. That's why suit and monk have to work in alignment. You don't want to go to the mountain and just meditate. It's like performance is important, productivity is important. If you don't have enough money to pay for your rent, you will suffer. So you need a healthy suit and you need a strong monk, both in alignment, and make sure that they are not separate. Because it's good to live a good external life and to pay for the holidays that you want. And yeah, so the suit is key. Monk has to come first, your values, your internal self, and then the suit just right around it. If you only focus on the suit, you have that disconnect.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. So you kind of make a balance between both. You come in the middle.
Exactly. With the monk coming first and then the suit productivity coming second, because then you can enjoy the journey of your life. You can enjoy the journey of your leadership, because otherwise you try to get somewhere in life. If I have that achievement, I will be happy. And that's maybe 5 or 10 years down the road. And in the meantime, you're struggling, but then maybe you have a burnout. So it's important to avoid that you don't create that gap.
Yeah. And some people do it in the other way. They want to make money and they are looking for a mission. And then they are doing things, to just like bring something to the outside world that is not really coming from the inside. Is this really for you like a mission to bring this suited monk concept to the world?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because I feel that there's a lot of people struggling right now, especially with COVID. A lot of people have lost their jobs or are in transition. I think also in the future, Jim, with where we are in the world today, with the uncertainty economically, if there comes a global recession, a lot of people might lose their jobs. And then the choice is like, okay, what are you going to do with your life? Are you continue just on the suit path and performance, or trying to achieve things, or are you going to start living a life true to your values, true to what brings meaning and purpose to you? And so I think this is a growing business. It's a growing trend. And I think it's necessary to start to do business in a different way so that we can help people to live happier lives and also build businesses that are being built around values, but then at the same time be highly profitable as well. So I think it's an emergent trend and it's needed more and more.
Mm-hmm. Now, I see not a lot of people really executing a mission. And for me, like a mission is something where you want to go outside the comfort zone to realize it. Do you agree that not a lot of people are going into that discomfort zone to achieve or bring
Yep,
the mission to the world?
absolutely, because you have to overcome your own fears. So in my case, let's say I'm an introvert and I'm a highly sensitive person. And so when I lost my career job in 2008 in the financial crisis, I was more, my personality was built around fake confidence. So then I had to build like real confidence, but then I had to overcome my fears of public speaking. And as an introvert, that was not easy. And I remember, when I was a kid in class gym and I used to speak in my class, I used to become red like a tomato. So I had to overcome that redness, to
Yeah.
overcome that fear to express my mission to the world. And so it's important that once you start walking a different path or walk a path in alignment with yourself, that you get support on that you're not alone on that journey, that you have someone with you who has walked that journey, who has been there, that can guide you in that transformation. Because it requires a lot of mindset change.
Mhm.
Yeah, your limiting beliefs. Some people
Yeah.
might say, I don't think I'm smart enough. I don't think I'm good enough to make that change. What if I fail? Am I worthy? Do I deserve it? All of that, you have to work through it to bring your mission to the world. And I think everyone has a gift, everyone has talent, everyone has a mission. And so to maximize your potential in your life, but also in your company, you have to express that monk. You have to express that mission in the organization and not be fearful of change, for example. That's when you release your full potential.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. But having a mission is that not part of like awareness also?
Definitely, yeah. Your everything on the inner world is intangible, and so you need to constantly raise awareness to get to know yourself better. And so that's why reading books, that's why working with a coach, even watching maybe this conversation between you and I, talking to other people who are in a similar mindset will help you to raise awareness. And awareness never ends in life, right, Jim? It's like every day we become aware of new things. We have to make new changes. We constantly have to adjust, right? I think maybe it's the same for you, no?
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Sure.
Mm, mm.
Now you you created a questionnaire to measure the gap between the suit and the monk, between
Yeah.
the internal and the external. Maybe I'll show the this is the QR code for the people who are watching. Maybe in the meantime you can already start explaining like what do you exactly measure in the questionnaire, and why is it that important?
What I measure in that questionnaire, first of all, that questionnaire is the result based on the survey of 200 CEOs worldwide by
Okay.
Professor Mike Thompson from the China Europe International Business School. And together we created this questionnaire to help people understand, okay, what is the size of your gap today? How much are you in your suit today, or how much are you in your monk today? Because the size of the gap will determine how much stress you have, how happy or unhappy you are, how engaged or non-engaged you are. And the gap inside yourself links to your happiness or unhappiness. So through that questionnaire, you will get a score from 0 out of 60 that will help you determine the level of your gap. Because once you are aware, as you said, awareness is key. Once you are aware that you have a gap in life, then only you can start like, okay, I have a gap now. What do I need to do next to bridge that gap so I can be happy internally and successful externally? And that is basically the goal of the questionnaire. Because even your CEO, well, not your CEO, Jim, but like every CEO, CFO, CIO, your team members, everyone that you work with has a gap. And so once you become aware of it, then it's like, okay, how can you bridge that so you can maximize engagement from the monk, but then also maximize productivity in your business and also in your life. So it's key that you raise awareness of that.
Yeah. Okay. And then you know the gap. How do you close then that gap?
Yep. There are three strategies that you can use to close that gap. One is to build a healthy suit. Money is important, productivity is important, career success is important, career advancement is important. For example, setting healthy boundaries with people is very important. It's part of a strong and healthy suit. Number two is release the negative emotions that you have within the gap. And so that comes from traumas, for example, from childhood that you could have when you grow up with your family. It could be stress level that you have to bridge that. It could be releasing all the negative emotions that you've accumulated on a life journey that you have to bridge that gap. And the third one is enlarge your monk. So, as I said earlier, your monk consists of your values, it consists of your purpose, and it consists of your intuition. And so for a lot of people, their suit and their monk are fighting with each other. It's like they have a battle between the mind and the heart. The mind says, I have to go that way, and the heart says, I have to go that way. And so what you want to achieve is you want to bridge that gap between that mind and that heart. Releasing negative emotions, for example, includes forgiveness, includes letting go. Of course, these are all very deep topics that you have to work through, but it's important that you become aware of that. So with Suited Monk and let's say with coaching, I help people to bridge that in a very practical way. Otherwise, it's very woo woo. It's like follow your heart. It's like, yeah, I understand, but like let's get back to work. Let's get back to business. It was like step by step bridging that gap. And I think also that's why coaching is so powerful to help change the mindset, become aware of the emotions, and to grow the monk on the inside.
Yeah. Now you mentioned the brain, the heart, and what about the gut or the intuition?
Yeah, gut feeling or intuition is one of the most important things that you can develop, because the, the most important thing in life is not necessarily your relationship, it's not your career, it's not your external self, it's the quality of your decision making. And so let's say the marriage that you have today or the partner that you have today is because you decided to be with that partner, or the company that you work with is because you decided. And so if you decide only from the mind, you bridge that gap. But if you follow your intuition, if you follow that gut feeling and that inner compass, you are not creating a gap anymore, because you are aligning yourself with who you are as a leader or in life. And so a lot of people need to learn to trust that gut feeling, because the mind will often override that decision. But it's often found that when you follow that intuition, you how to say, you don't create that gap. It reminds me of a story of Hamdi Ulukaya, and he's a guy who used to work in the Middle East, and he had a yogurt factory. And he said at some point, he says, like, I have this feeling that I have to go to the United States and develop yogurt there and develop a yogurt business. But then the rationale was, they said that, okay, yogurt business in the United States, it's not that big. People don't eat yogurt. But he was like, I feel it's the right thing to do. And so he went to the States, bought an old factory, I think it was from Kraft Foods, and started experimenting with different types of yogurt, different types of flavors, sizes, and colors, and so on. Today is the largest yogurt manufacturer in the United States. A company is called Chobani. And there's an article about him in the Financial Times about how following his gut feeling basically transformed his business.
Mhm.
So it's important that you use that in life, but you also use that in business, because at the end of the day, you cannot collect all the data. And intuition is a key factor in decision making. And it's also what I used, Jim, when I had my career transition. Am I going to go back to shipping and logistics in my suit, or am I going to follow my heart and do what I'm born to do? And that links to the mission that you said earlier. Part of finding your mission is following your intuition.
Yeah. Now we have the brain, we have the gut, and the heart is in the middle. Is that the key? Is that the like kind of the mix, or like the solution, or the compromise between both? Is it in the heart? Is it something like that?
Yeah, I would say so. In alignment. So I'd say the heart comes first and the suit is just right behind it. It's like imagine a very authentic leader. Like you can approach him, you can talk to him, he has empathy, he's connecting with you monk to monk, but then at the same time, he has a very good suit, he's very analytical, very rational, can make very good decisions. And, you know, to me, it's the right way of living because then you're not creating that gap and then you're living in alignment and that's how you maximize your life journey because at the end of the day your life is about what's the lifestyle that you want to have, what's really the life you want to have. Start with that, and that comes from the monk, and then build a good successful suit around it. And of
Yeah,
course, Jim, life is not easy. We have to say that you know there's a lot of changes, and so how do you cope with changes, how do you manage your monk and your suit with changes is part of the art of living. You know, that's what we are here for, to learn and to grow and to expand.
yeah, yeah. Now, yeah, a lot of people watching us, they will know, they know from previous coffee breaks, they know the for the lean model. You know
Yeah,
the model also. Maybe it's nice, and I will show it to the people. Maybe it's nice that you, yeah, explain a little bit the similarities, the things we have in common in your model versus the for the lean model.
absolutely, because the 4D lean model is also a very powerful model to enhance your awareness about where you are as an individual and also as a company. And so, in my language, let's say if you're in the 0D or the 1D, you're very in the suit, very attached in the suit. There is no monk. It's more about control. It's about short-term vision. Engagement is not important. Happiness is not important. It's more about performance and achievement. But then you have people who are not engaged and you have a high turnover in the company. When you go to 2D, you have more engagement. There's a little bit more monk involved. Um, there you have leadership, authenticity, trust. You have a win-win. So Suit and Monk are getting more and more into the alignment. When you go to 3D and 4D, the heart, it becomes more powerful and important. Let's say that links to the people that you hire, but it's also how you connect with people in the organization. It's about empathy. It's about active listening. It's about giving ownership to people. It's about managing change. 4D is future lean is like, where do I want to be? That comes more the purpose and the monk. What is your bigger mission as a leader? How can you create a better world, but also through innovation? And then how do you market innovation? How do you increase productivity in alignment with your purpose? There you focus on personal well-being. People feel engaged. People are motivated. People are happy. There, as you say, you follow the heart and the intuition, and you get into a higher level of consciousness. And then 4D plus is I am. That's the wholeness. That is the source. And of course, that is ideal, and that's something that you want to work towards to in your life and in your business. And that's the total alignment of the monk and the suit, where you are authentic, where you give ownership, but at the same time you're very successful as a leader, and you're very successful in your career. So ideally, you want to grow from one level, from 0D, 1D, 2D, 3D, 4D, and 4D plus. And that's a journey of transformation. And
Yeah.
through, let's say, coaching and guidance and workshops, it's growing to the next level every week, every month, and every year.
Yeah, yeah, and then yeah, the pizza, like the small icon of the pizza, is kind of like the alignment between the rational, the emotional, and the intuitive.
Yep.
And in this case, I always say, like, the moment that you are in the heart, you can go like to the brain, and you can go to the gut, so you're like always centered. This is also
Yep.
like yeah, the balance between the masculine and the feminine, the doing
Yep.
and the being. Yeah, the result and the balance. So
Yep.
yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing to see, like, yeah, the similarities between both models. Yeah. uh,
Absolutely, they're very aligned, and it's the same. You and I, we have the same goal, and we want to help people, and we want to help them to change so they can live more alignment with who they are, but then at the same time maximize profitability for the company.
yeah, yeah,
And that's the
yeah.
alignment. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not like that 4D is better than 3D than 2D. You need them all three, and they are like this, just additional. Uh, these are three power center, and if you just neglect one of the power center, you just are not getting the maximum out of yourself.
Absolutely. And the maximum out of your teams. And
Yeah,
so it's important when you hire people that you are aware of the monk of the person, but also of the suit of the person. And on LinkedIn, you see a lot of the suit, the background, the experience, the knowledge, and the testimonials and achievement. But it's really key that you assess the monk in the people that you hire so that you make sure that it's a good cultural fit with the team and also with the company.
yeah, yeah. And when you look at LinkedIn, or whatever social media, the posts that are working best are the emotional posts, like the posts that are like really touching, that are vulnerable, that are, yeah, that's what is working. That is like what humans are about. It's all about it's all about emotions. Now,
Right.
um, you, you have, part of your mission is to spread happiness at work in Spain. How
Correct.
important is that element, happiness at work?
It's crucial. Absolutely. Because it's about raising awareness in Spain and beyond that. Only productivity, let's say if you only focus on productivity and achievement and goals, it's a short-term living, short-term based. So you need to include that happiness of the people because your productivity is going to skyrocket if you get people and hire people who are more engaged.
Yeah,
So with Happiness at Work in Spain, also with the conference that we are organizing, Jim, that we will launch next year, it's really key to raise awareness on how you can stimulate happiness, engagement, and motivations within employees, within organizations here in Spain. So then again, to maximize productivity. So we are raising a lot of awareness right now. We're talking to a lot of companies who have interest to invest with us. And yeah, so who really believe in their people and who want to grow and keep learning. So it's a very exciting project, and yeah, we'll make it happen.
yeah, yeah. And there again, like, we have the gap. We have the
Yep,
gap, like in a lot of cases, the gap between employer and employee. That gap determines engagement.
yep,
Engagement determines productivity. And if you know that,
absolutely.
non-engaged people are 45% less productive than engaged people, yeah, then you can translate it in euros, and that's in a lot of cases what CEOs are needed to get out of that, yeah, controlling zone, or that comfort zone, and to become like open-minded, at least to give the new trends, and the new trends, what is happening in the new generations, a chance. So
Definitely.
how ready is Spain for this?
I think very ready. I think it's a hot topic right now. It depends from organization to organization. You'll always have companies who are not ready for that, but I see more and more companies that are ready for that, and especially also because people are becoming more and more awake. People are becoming more and more aware. If people don't get a good work environment with good colleagues, they will go to another company. So it is really key, and I think it's the next level of doing business together. It's monk to monk communication, like what we are doing right now. Monk to monk with your clients. You talk monk to monk in the organization, and then okay, guys, how can we make this profitable? How can we make this successful, and build a good suit around it? So I think it's the future of business, and that's where we should be heading. And also in life, it's time for people to live a life true to themselves, because you've never been educated, Jim. Neither you, neither I. Even when I was in China or even now in Spain, we are not educated in school about our monk, about our purpose, our mission, and to express that, and who we are as individuals and our emotion. It's all about the rationale. So at some point in life, you come to a point where you are very successful, but you want something more. It's like you hit the ceiling, but now what? And then it's like changing that path and creating that alignment. And I think Spain is ready for that, and I think the world is ready for that.
Yeah, yeah. And for HR, attraction of talent and retention of talent. It's like number one. It's a concern number one right now, and their well-being is super important for the new generation. So I guess in Spain that's the same.
Yeah, HR here. There's a lot of HR who are very aware right now. There are also who are less aware, but the HR department is one of the most important in the organization. They're often neglected because they hire the people, and they in the end decide what type of person you are hire if they have a gap or not. So it's important that your HR department is trained on understanding the internal, external, that they know the importance so they can hire the right people, that there isn't a less turnover, because if you need to replace people, costs a lot of money. You need to train them. They only become productive after 6 months. And so yeah, you want to make sure you hire the right people so that they stay with the company long term. So HR is a key factor in the organization.
Yeah, that's what I call effective diversity, like the right people on the right spots with the right mindset aligned with the culture of the company. Yeah, that is. Last question. What
Wow,
makes
time flies.
yeah. What makes Raf Adams happy?
Oh, I can do what I love every single day. Receiving an email from a client who told me how they've changed their life, it's priceless. You cannot pay for that. That makes me happy. That makes me fulfilled. I love my lifestyle. Live right next to the beach, so have a good external lifestyle, good internal life, and that makes me really humble and fulfilled. Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess there we found each other. Like making people happy makes
Yeah.
us happy.
Yeah.
Thank
Absolutely.
you.
Thank you,
Thank you
Jim.
for being here, and we speak soon.
We speak soon.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.